Toyota, andrewrox20 here, aka the Wingmeister, aka Turbanjot. Whatever you want to call me, it's me. Anyways, I'm making this video here to give my thoughts on the anime that I watched this past anime season, summer 2016. Mainly doing this as like a time capsule kind of thing, so I can look back and, remember what I watched. And yeah, I kind of watched a lot of shows this season because, it was summer and I had more time than usual, so there's going to be a lot. Alright, quick warning, disclaimer, there might be mild spoilers in here. I'm going to try my best not to spoil anything, but something might slip out. I personally am a huge hater of spoilers. One of my roommates is a guy who loves spoiling things. So I'm going to try my best not to spoil anything for you guys, but no guarantee that something might slip. Just a fair warning. Alright, the first show is going to be Amanchu. Here's my thoughts. I thought it was super boring, and most of the characters were annoying, especially Teko. The main character is a girl named Pikari. She is such a wimp. I did not like her at all. As with most of the other characters in this show, another thing, almost all the characters are girls, and that's not something I can usually get down with. Usually I need some kind of alpha male, or I can't really relate to a show with all girls. Well, there's one guy, but he doesn't count. And the show is about diving, and in my opinion, diving is only mildly interesting at best, so in the end it was just a super boring experience. Not to trash this show too much, but the only thing I thought that wasn't that bad, the music was quite alright, but overall, I did not like this show that much. Felt like it was too boring to my tastes. Alright, now we got Kuromukuro. It's a mech show. I like mech shows. One of my favorite shows is Gurren Lagann, so usually every season I try to watch a mech show. Like last season I watched Schwarzes Marken for German. Anyways, this is a mech show done by PA Works. They usually make pretty shows, but in my opinion, this one wasn't even that pretty. All in all, this show was really whatever mech show. Wasn't exciting. The action was really whatever. Weren't like a super big variety of mechs either. The ending of the show was whatever as well. It wasn't amazing, but I'd say the show in general was leaning towards the bad side. One of the worst mech shows I've seen. And honestly, I'd say it's even worse than Aldnoah Zero. Because at least Aldnoah Zero, they had pretty epic music whenever they fought. And even though one character was a bit OP, it was good action. And thing about this show, Kuromukuro, is that I didn't really like any of the characters, and in most other mech shows I can at least like a couple of the characters. So overall, I'd only recommend this show if you really like samurai, because the main character is a samurai guy. And even then, if you want to watch a show about samurai, you should watch Hidden Gem, House of Five Leaves. Alright, next up we got Food Wars Season 2, the Summer Edition, whatever you want to call it. So here are my thoughts. Honestly, I didn't think this show was as good as the first season. Mainly because I feel like the first season I already peaked in my taste, because the first season had a Kariage arc, and in this season there was no Kariage, so there was no way that this season could be as good, but there are other reasons I think it's not as good as the first season. The first season had more variety in like the content of the show. They did more stuff in general in this season. It mainly focused on the autumn election tournament thing, where most of the students tried to get into the Elite 10 or whatever, and it eventually got stale. It kind of felt like MasterChef, not like Food Wars, not like an anime, but more like a reality TV. So yeah, and But I can't trash the show too much. It's still one of my favorites. Could be the best show this season, honestly. Still good old Food Wars with the great balance of super educational cooking, man. They give you all the details, and of course the food gasms. Well, another thing, the show ended pretty strong. Like, the ending was quite good. While most of the other ones I watched this season didn't have so great endings. I'll talk about those later, but yeah, this show, solid. This is actually a surprise for me this season. I didn't go into it with much expectations, but it ended up being one of my favorite shows of a certain genre. I'm not exactly sure what you call it. It's not exactly slice of life. I guess it is, because they're in a school. I guess comedy would be a better way to put it. They basically just do stuff in school and it's funny. Alright, shout out to my boy Ricky though. Good friend Ricky. Also known as Desai. I hope I'm saying your name right, but my friend Ricky recommended this show to me, and I respect your anime taste way more because I love this show. It's amazing. It's pretty much my type of humor, TBH, and I basically liked all the characters. They were all interesting in my opinion. Like Ricky, your bae, the lolly girl. And then we got my boys, Uchimaki, and of course the president, who's the embodiment of sleeping. Yeah, he's amazing. And president of a club, I can relate. And I gotta say, I like the art style in the show. The girls are pretty kawaii. Only thing I can mark it down for is that there isn't much plot in the show, but really who cares when every episode is hilarious, and I actually look forward to watching this show every week. Alright, now we got the super hyped up Re:0, the second half, which aired during the summer, but I'm going to talk about the whole thing because I jumped onto the bandwagon mid-season. I didn't really watch it weekly from the beginning. It was recommended to me by a bunch of friends, so I jumped on it later. Objectively, the show wasn't amazing. I mean, it's like not a masterpiece. It was still really good though, but I gotta say it's overrated, or overhyped is probably a better way to say it. The pacing of the show was not that great in my opinion. The show really fell off towards the end, especially after Rem stopped alhumaing. If you know what I'm talking about if you watch the show. But enough trash talk. This show was a great experience. It was super hype watching every episode weekly when it came out, especially because most of my friends watched it. It was great watching it week by week, and talking about each episode after it aired. We had like a little analogy going on, calling the show I-5 after the freeway that connects cities in California, the West Coast, and basically we dubbed different characters after different NBA teams, and I don't know, it's just good times. The show would play with my emotions a lot with their return by death concept. You never really knew what was gonna happen, so yeah, just quit playing with my emotions, Re:Zero. But I gotta say, the character designs in this show were really good, and the characters as well. As a result, I gotta give shoutouts to my boy Ramaji, aka Old Man Ram, if you remember him, and also my main men Wilhelm van Estrella, and of course Ricardo. And but that's not what you guys want to hear, right? Because this show is all about the grills, and I gotta pick my bae, Rip City, aka Portland Trailblazers, aka Emilia. And gotta give a quick shout out to my close runner-up, Rem, aka Dub Nation, aka the Golden State Warriors, because of how many people jumped on the bandwagon. Alright, now we got Tales of Zestiria the X, or the Cross. I don't even know how it's supposed to be, but basically it's based off of Tales of Zestiria, which is a pretty good game for PS3 and PC, and not sure what else, but this anime is like basically the story from that game. And the opening of the show is Jammin', sung by Flo, the singers of Jibunwo, or Colors by Flo. This song opening was really good. It got me hyped up every time to watch it. But here's my opinion. The anime was kind of whatever. I think just playing the game would be a better experience because some things were changed in the anime. I think it'd be much better for you to play the game, but I guess it's a good alternative to watch this anime if you don't want to play the game. Because I don't know, I just felt like it was weird when an epic boss battle in the game that took like, you know, a while to prepare for and to get the strategy down, and that took multiple tries, would just turn into like a 2-minute battle in the anime. And but it's not bad. It's really not bad at all. Like the visuals or graphics or whatever you call it, the visuals are really good in this show, and the music is really good too. The same songs from the game, which really hit me with nostalgia, or I don't know. It gave me the feels when I heard the same songs playing in the show. So, but the one thing I did remember from the show was Lady Emulsion. Whenever she said Alicia in Japanese, English subs, right? She seemed to have like a hard time pronouncing Alicia, so she would always say Alicia, and I thought that was hilarious. But I don't know, you know, watch it if you want to, but if you really want to get into Tales of Zestiria, play the game. Alright, we got Rewrite up next. Good times. This show was so random and so confusing. I did not really know what was going on after the halfway point. And yeah, that ending though, I literally had to say WTF at the end. Like, what was that? But, you know, I gotta respect the show that they put a twist to the usual anime formula. They try to be different. And at least the characters are good. Actually, no, I like the characters a lot. But, you know, you can't ignore that ending. That ending reminded me of a classic Guilty Crown. And even though the characters are drawn kind of lolly style, I don't know how else to call it, chibi? I don't know. But even though they're drawn like that, I still like the characters a lot. I think the best girl for me was probably Katori, mainly because she could summon Everns, and she had the puppy. But I gotta give Kagiri some credit for repping the tea cough, man. UCC tea coffee. Let's go. And I gotta give a shout out to my Yakuza boy Yoshino. He was a pretty cool character, in my opinion, even though he didn't get that much screen time. But I gotta say, I didn't hate the show, to be honest, even though it was kind of crazy in the Clown Fiesta. But I feel like my enjoyment of the show kind of depended heavily on the timing, because this show came out on Saturdays, and that's the same day that Love Live comes out, so let's just say that it didn't have much competition. Back in the day, I would smutter out Love Live Sunshine with this show and with Food Wars, which also came out on Saturdays. All in all, the show, enjoyable. It's an experience. Alright, it hurts me to talk about the show, but I gotta. It's called Battery, or more officially, it's called Battery, the Animation, which kind of reminds me of another show that ends with the animation, but let's talk about this one. Basically, it's a boring show about a boring sport, and I think when I say boring sport, some of you might know what I'm talking about, but it's baseball. I don't like baseball that much, and honestly, it's unlucky that the sport baseball is so slow, and that kind of translates to the show, because nothing much really happens. Like, they could have spent the whole time playing baseball, but instead they spent more time on the characters. And speaking of the characters are super forgettable. Like, I don't even remember the names of most of them. And some of them were literally clones of each other, but playing for different teams. So that was something. And it doesn't help that the main character's name is Takumi. If you know me, I have a negative connotation with the name Takumi. Yeah, so screw you, Takumi. unlucky though. I had high hopes for this show. It aired on the Noitamina block, and if you know me, I'm a huge fan of Noitamina. But honestly, I think this was coming because Noitamina has been on fire recently, like with Erased and Cabaneri coming out in the last 2 shows. Noitamina was bound to cool off anyways, but I had really high hopes for this show because it's a Noitamina sports anime, and the last Noitamina sports anime to come out was my favorite show of all time, Ping Pong the Animation. So unfortunately this show didn't live up to expectations. Honestly, I'd prefer to watch Prince of Stride over this. Even with Prince of Stride being really awkward, it was at least enjoyable. Like, it focused on the sport and it was entertaining. Battery, baseball, not that entertaining in my opinion. So I'd only recommend this show if you love baseball or if you really like romance, because the 2 main characters, or maybe I should explain a battery. A battery is the relationship between a pitcher and a catcher in baseball, and you can kind of guess the relationship that blossomed between those 2. So if you like that kind of stuff, like extreme bromance, maybe, but otherwise, nah, B. Alright, now I'm going to talk about Orange. The show had a really good start. The first episode was quite good and it got me hooked in, but towards the middle the show started falling off pretty hard. Like, nothing really happened, or it would advance really slowly, but in the end, the ending was like pretty good, so overall, not too bad. In the middle though, it kind of just turned into a boring slice of life or romance, and it could have been executed better, because I feel like slice of lives or romances that aren't executed that well, it just turn out to be just really boring, and that's kind of what happened to Orange. One gripe I had of the show is that they didn't really explain the twist all that well. Like, in the first episode they introduced a twist that made the show interesting, right? But they didn't really explain it until the very end, and even then they didn't do a really good job or satisfactory to me. So the whole show is like a big what if, you know? I really dig the art style though, with all the characters having big lips, or like actually having lips, you know? It reminds me of a better show called Ore Monogatari, where the main character was this guy, huge guy with gorilla lips. But that's kind of off topic. Overall, the show was okay. Not bad recommendation from my friend Wesley, aka the Kung Fu Rabbit. It was not garbage like I was expecting it to be, because it's coming from my nemesis, Wesley, but it was not godlike either. Just alright show. Pretty good in the end, but I feel like it wasn't amazing. Shoot, one thing I didn't get as well was, why the hell is the show called Orange? Why? If you watch it and you know why it's called Orange, please tell me. Alright, now it's time to talk about a controversial show. Love Live Sunshine. Honestly, I don't know why I watched this, but it was mainly because the show was really popular and I wanted to educate myself. So here are my thoughts. Right off the bat, I'm gonna tell you guys, I hated this show. There's something about the character design that threw me for a loop. Like, all the characters, well, first of all, they're all girls, so screw that. But they're all the same height. They all seem like, you know, the same character reskinned with like different hair color and different eye color and like a different hairstyle. But just them all being the same height was kind of triggered me. Like, there's no big or small. Their arms and legs are like all the same, like, shape and size, and their eyes are all super shiny. I'm like, not for me. It's kind of like if you're using a character creator in a game like MapleStory or, you know, like those kind of games, and you use the same build for all your characters. Or shoot, it's kind of like if they made a band out of the Pokemon Go girls. You know? They're just all the same. It's just a different eye color. You know, I would watch a show if it was about good idols. But these idols literally suck. Because the show's about them being beginners, right? Rising from the ashes. They keep talking about Muse. And as someone who didn't really finish the first season of Love Live, I was kind of annoyed. I was like, stop talking about Muse. Just improve yourselves or whatever. Just stop talking about Muse. Like, whenever they talk about Muse, like, oh, Muse did this, Muse did that, you're literally, like, saying or accepting the fact that you suck compared to them. So, like, yeah, you suck. That's how I think about you guys. I mean, not you guys, the characters in Love Live Sunshine. And, yeah, time to talk about some characters. I usually like Dingus characters, right? But something about hearing Zora and let's do our Rubesti, or that's the sub, but like she says Ruby or something, but like seeing that just really grinds my gears. It makes me want to barf. Like, they're trying to be cute and it's absolutely disgusting. Oh my god. Another bad thing about the show, too many characters. Like, 9 idols? Like, what kind of a girl group has that many? I mean, I guess, what's it called? I don't know my K-pop band, but there's that one K-pop band. I think it's Girls' Generation or something. They have quite a few, but like growing up listening to NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, they had like 5. These girls have 9, so yeah, too many characters. So each one didn't get that much screen time. I did like that they were from a small town, you know, like a random town by the ocean. It reminds me of good old Morgan Stoney, aka Morgan Hill, a town to the south of San Jose. Can't trash the show too much though, because their production values were high, and good music, right, and good visuals. Like, even though it wasn't my style, I can't deny that the show looked good. And the story was I mean, and the ending was alright, I guess. But that freaking summary that they did at the end, what the heck was that? Actually, I lied. The story was garbage, and the ending was garbage. I'm out. I'm done with this show. I was so caught up with trash talking Love Live that I forgot to talk about the good. So here are my favorite characters from Love Live, if there even is any. I kind of like Mari, mainly for her English. Like, English is one of my favorite things that comes out of anime, when they speak English and it's in a crazy accent. Like, she would say, "It's joke," etc. I don't remember what else she said, but she's pretty good. Actually, she wasn't that good. I only liked her for her English. Another character, I forgot her name because she's so forgettable, but she was the girl with the hat. She would usually wear a hat, and she had short brown hair, but I didn't like her. I just didn't hate her because she was not as annoying as the other girls, so shout out to her. Their characters were complete garbage. Like, I can't even call these 2 girls my favorites because I hated all the characters. But, you know, Love Live wasn't complete garbage. I mean, actually it was, but only good things that came out of it was the moments, you know, that I could talk to my friends about. Like the touching moments, especially the best one of them all, Kanan's Hagu. Alright, you guys didn't want to hear me trashing shows the whole time, right? So we saved the best for last. Let's go. It's Bananya. One of the most amazing shows I've seen in a while. Each episode is 3 episodes. I mean, not 3 episodes, 3 minutes. And one of those minutes is taken up by the theme song, which is amazing, by the way. But anyways, this show's like 13 short episodes, and you could watch them all in one sitting. And it's amazing. It's about these Bananyas, or basically what they are cats. The top half is a cat and the bottom half is a banana, and it's cute, amazing, and hilarious. So main thing though is that Shuoma, aka Aaron Yeager, or the voice of Shuoma, right? He voices most of the cats, and that blew my mind when I found out that the guy who does manly screams in shonen did like the feminine meow meows for the cats. I just thought it was hilarious. And also you got that super chill narrator telling the story, kind of like Blue's Clues. And the theme song is a banger. Holy moly, Bananya's theme song is amazing. I haven't heard something this good since Seko Boys. The show is short and sweet, and it always put a smile on my face. Bananya, you guys gotta watch it. It's only 3 minutes. Just do it!